Hi everyone, welcome back to GoLocal Live. I'm GoLocal News Editor Kate Nagel. Thanks for joining us this Friday afternoon for news and politics. I want to thank Ray Rickman and Bob Whitcomb for coming on. And now a familiar face, Jim Vincent, president of the NAACP Providence branch. Thank you for coming in today.
Well, thanks, Kate. I really appreciate this.
I appreciate it. On the eve of the 106th Freedom Fund breakfast here in Providence, going to have as a keynote speaker Rachel Rollins, the chief law enforcement officer in Suffolk County, Massachusetts. First woman in that position, first person of color being a district attorney, and it's an elected position. So she ran out a platform, and she's going to be speaking tomorrow here in Providence at the breakfast. So let's talk a little bit, Jim, about your decision to get Ms. Rollins to come and tell her story.
Well, I first met Ms. Rollins earlier this year in February at Roger Williams Law School's Black History Month event, and she was the keynote speaker, and I was really impressed. And I went up to her, told her that she did a really great job. I was really, interested in how she was going to fare, given the fact that she had a different take on criminal justice than maybe her predecessors had. Mm-hmm. And I told her, look, I'm from Boston as well. I was born and raised in the city, worked there for a while, but had been in Rhode Island for a good bit. And I said, I'd like to consider her to be a breakfast speaker. She said, sure. And I gave her the call, and she said, I'd be honored to come. And I said, wow, I'm really lucky.
So she's coming in tomorrow. She ran on a platform of kind of criminal justice reform, obviously something you've been intimately involved with here in the state. Talk a little bit about that, what you expect to hear from her and folks who attend the breakfast in terms of, what she's going to be sharing with attendees.
Well, I think the attendees are going to hear something that is not earth-shattering, but is very practical. Her thing is that, go after the high-level offenders, the people that are really committing serious crimes against society. And look at people that are, let's say, drug abusers. Look at treatment versus jail time. Look at people that cannot pay bail or fines and maybe waive those because, it's a perpetual cycle with them and they're going to be in and out of the system, and it doesn't serve anybody well. It doesn't serve the individual or the system well. And also a focus on not even prosecuting certain crimes because it ties up time in the system. So I think she has a reformist point of view. I think that is important in any community, especially one like Rhode Island, to hear, and hopefully people will welcome her message.
Okay, very good. And let's talk a little bit, 106th Freedom from breakfast.
106. We started here in Providence in 1913, and we were one of the first branches to be chartered by the NAACP, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, which started in 1909. And the reason why we started was that blacks were not allowed to use the YMCA downtown. So people got outraged. It was that and other things at the time, and said we got to form a chapter and work with the national organization. And so I'm part of that legacy now. I'm in my 9th year as a branch president. I feel honored to have been put in this situation, and we're going to continue to work hard.
What is the state of the NAACP Providence branch here in 2019?
I think it's in a good place. We're focused on something that I think we all feel is important, and that's the judiciary. As you know, last year there were 4 people of color up for 4 positions, and we asked Governor Raimondo and the Senate President and the Speaker of the House and the Judicial Nominating Panel to please increase diversity in the judiciary, since we only have 2 judges of color out of 90. And in the governor's infinite wisdom, with the other people involved, 3 were appointed. So now we have 5. Maria Farrell Deaton, who just texted me, she's going to be at the breakfast. She has she's on the short list for the Superior Court this year, and we're going to ask the governor to appoint her to the Superior Court, and that will make 6. And I do understand that Aponte Cardona, Louis Aponte's brother, is likely magistrate in the traffic tribunal, so that'll make 7 out of 90. We're not going to dance because of 7 out of 90, but certainly at the beginning of the year having 2, and at the end of the year having 7, I think that's a good year.
And often when I have guests in, our bread and butter here is politics. So kind of want to pick your brain a little bit. It's been in the news this week. Obviously, President Donald Trump was tweeting about it last weekend. Former Vice President Joe Biden, when he was in the Senate as chair of the Judiciary, was supportive of the 94 crime bill. Of course, had a lot of consequences, some unintended consequences, but knew it was going to come up as a campaign issue. Now, you've got across the spectrum people who want to ping him on that. We spoke with Jennifer Lawless down at UVA saying it was a different time. He might realize what had happened, might look to correct that. Do you think this is an issue for the Vice President?
Well, I think it's an issue he needs to address, but as far as I can see, he has addressed it. He realizes that he made some mistakes, and other people that really supported that 94 crime bill, like Bill Clinton, have admitted that they made some mistakes in judgment, and it was horrific, the impact in some cases. So I think what you need to look at, though, is that the last poll that I saw, he was getting 43% of the African American vote. And as you know, there's about 24 candidates. So if he's getting 43%, I don't think that he's a lock, but I think he's in a good position.
And let's talk a little bit about that. Of course, as of now, it does not look like incumbent President Donald Trump will have a challenger. But that 24 candidate field, what do you think is going to, distinguish the candidates to see who's going to move forward and eventually be the nominee?
Well, I think you have different camps of candidates. You have progressives, you have people that are, more of a moderate or whatever. I think what's going to happen is that it's going to be tough for somebody to beat Joe Biden. I think conventional wisdom would say, well, no, but people like him that were supposedly the successor to the seat have lost, i.e. Hillary Clinton, and it would be somebody like a Barack Obama coming out of nowhere, or Jimmy Carter, which would suggest that it could be a Kamala Harris, for example. So I think.
But you still think Joe's the one to beat?
Well, I think given the polling and given the fact that he has a high favorability rating with a lot of different Democratic groups, I think it's him to beat. And I think if he is the nominee, what I think is going to happen is that he will look at the field that he has beaten, and he'll probably pick somebody like Kamala Harris to be the VP. So I look at something like that as the ticket. I think as long as there's not a progressive third party or even fourth party candidate, I don't see how the Democrats lose the next election.
Well, I appreciate your coming in here again on the eve of the Freedom Fund breakfast. Can you buy tickets at the door tomorrow?
You can buy tickets at the door. It's $40 at the door, but if you go to NAACPPROV.org or just go Providence NAACP, you can buy tickets for $35 online.
Okay, if you go online. And tomorrow, again, Rachel Rollins, the Chief Law Enforcement Officer in Suffolk County, Massachusetts, first woman in that role and first person of color as a district attorney, is going to be speaking and telling her experience there to the audience here in Rhode Island. So Jim Vincent, I appreciate your taking the time to come into the studio.
Always a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you for joining us for the noontime show. We'll likely be popping up at 1 o'clock on an issue that just bubbled up today in Bristol. So be sure to come back at 1 o'clock when you see us on Facebook or on the website. We look forward to seeing you in just a little bit. I'm GoLocal News Editor Kate Nagel.